sad, absolutely. But I didn't particularly like the way it had to go down. It was such a well-kept, clean place. Even though there was animals and horses and bulls and oxen and everything, the grounds at Frontier Town were immaculate every day, you know. And to see it like this is heartbreaking, of course, for anybody that put in as much time and effort as I did for 30 years, or 27 years, I think, building the Carousel Park. Bernie Giro and I built the covered bridge. I built the sawmill and the grist mill and the tanning mill, which was pulled by oxen. You know, just Jim Pachette's shop up here, the blacksmith shop. That burned. The original stable that was burned. And I built that new building, and then Mac Anderson once again and I went down to an old blacksmith man in Wheelwright, Jim Pachette. And he was retired, and we acquired his shop. And I brought it all up here and rebuilt his shop and called it the Jim Pachette's Proprietor, you know. There was a lot of gratification in doing things like that. It was memorizing people that were gone, you know. Jim Pachette was a big, well-known man in the town of Crown Point for years and years and years. Way back from shoeing horses to building wagon wheels, and for us to have his shop, it gave it some validity, you know. Yeah. So many things. People. When I walk around here, I think of God knows how many people that have gone. It's upsetting.
If you take away how it looks now and how it ended during your time, what's the biggest memory for you? Is it people too?
You mean when I was younger?
Yeah.
When I was younger, I was like all the teenage boys. I loved horses. I loved playing cowboy. The faster I could ride, the better I liked it. And then got into breaking horses and the horses, I guess. As I said, I may have made a mistake staying here too long financially, but things worked out. But the horses and the atmosphere, I loved living from day to day in an old western town, you know. You can only dream that it was back in the 1800s. And I loved that. That's mainly why I stayed. That was more heartfelt than anything. That it was the atmosphere of the day, living in a western town, you know. No cars, no, nothing like that. Just cowboys, horses, and the acts in the shows during the day. And I graduated from, like I say, the canteen selling hot dogs to driving this wagon, picking up garbage and so on at 15, and then graduated over to where I was then old enough to take duckings and be in a train outlaw and a stage outlaw, and worked from that to the shows in the streets. From that to playing this Speedy Gonzales character that got hung every day for a bunch of years until I'm afraid I got a little too heavy to do that. As a matter of fact, one time the snap on the harness broke, and I actually went into the harness, or into the rope. But I was standing on a horse so I could just walk off. It wasn't a snap, it was just a walk off, and I was in the rope. but it wasn't tied to anything. Actually, Joe Evans had the rope wrapped around a beam, and if I made a certain motion, then he would let that rope off and drop me down. And of course, after every show, I had to get on the microphone and explain to all the kids that I was a stuntman, and I had a harness on, and would show them a section of it,
Yeah.
and that not to try this at home. Yeah, not, that this was a professional's job and very dangerous, and don't ever try this at home. And I've never heard of any follow-up on that from any kids or anything. I have got some pictures of it though. Then I got too heavy, so I got shot in the street instead of being home, after I shot a few of them. Yeah, it was fun. I have to say, as a young man, it was fun, But then there was very much a serious side to it all too. It was a business, and it was all said and done, and it had to be run right, and it had to be run so that when people came here, they left entertained, And it's now gone, I'm sure, like we're all going to be. Never to come back, I don't believe. It would take a tremendous amount of money to ever make it work again,
Out of every job you ever had in your life, how would you rate this one?
First, I had better job after I left for other people, as far as financial concerns. But it wasn't a day I didn't think that I'd like to have Frontier Town to go back to. I was talking with an old fellow, I think that it was possibly in a book that I just recently read, Jim Sprague. I run into him somewhere, and of course we were great friends. And we were talking about Dick Corey. And I said, well, Dick Corey now is 83 years old, Jim. He was on the phone with me from 9 o'clock at night until 1:15 in the morning, the last time he called, Dick Corey. And he called Jim Sprague since then. And Jim said, I was on the phone with him till midnight. And I said, well, he's an older man now, and he's had a stroke, and he is remembering his life at Frontier Town. We were discussing a certain book. He'll read a book or write a song, and he's on the phone singing it to me or something, So, we all get old. We all get old. Me among them.
I'd love to show the videos quick.
Yeah.